Hey folks, in this video, we will share how Carnage fights Deadpool. The maniacal murdering psychopath is going crazy. The writer known as Cullen Bunn was onto something when he got the idea to pit Deadpool and Carnage against each other in an epic fight that would cover 3 comic book editions. Think about that. There's no doubt that it would be bloody in every sense. Both guys are borderline psychopaths, and here's how the fight went down, so stick around. The story begins at your regular American diner. It's situated in some town big enough to have a police presence, but too small to be referred to as a county. So this single police officer is having some coffee while he browses the newspaper that morning. There's a breaking story that says Carnage has escaped from his mental asylum prison, and this cop dares to fault the prison system that allows maniacs like Carnage to be treated humanely. He prefers to shoot on sight, and here's a lesson in keeping your opinions to yourself. It turns out that Carnage is seated right beside him as Cletus Kasady. Oops! Kasady quickly turns into Carnage mode and shoots a hand through the officer's head. Then he proceeds to clear the room by killing every customer, including the waiters who just served him. The whole incident soon gets on the news and becomes a media frenzy. Meanwhile, Deadpool is reclining on his couch and watching TV when the news item about Carnage comes on. As expected, Deadpool prefers watching stuff that doesn't fry his brain, like unicorns in the Teletubbies, so he starts to flick the channels, but the Carnage incident is everywhere. Then Deadpool's head starts turning, and you can see he's about to get a brainwave. Ding! Is the universe trying to tell him something? Certainly, yeah. It's trying to tell him the Carnage must be stopped at all costs. But Deadpool wants a definitive sign, so he heads outside to the public square, which looks a lot like Times Square. In the middle of it, he asks the universe for a sign. Everyone just ignores him as they get on with their day. Soon enough, Deadpool thinks he's seen something. A random guy is carrying a box dripping with blood, so Deadpool follows. This leads him to an abattoir, but it's a false lead. Deadpool also sights another kid playing in the arcade nearby and thinks a clue might be gotten from him, but no. Then finally he sees a newsstand in the corner. 2 separate covers get his attention. One has the red-haired image of Kasady, while the other speaks of a ghost town called Tulsa, Oklahoma. Deadpool puts the 2 together, and they point him accordingly. The stupid clue turns out to be true, and Kasady is indeed having some fun with the entire town of Tulsa to himself. As he prances around in only his underwear, he spots a missile coming in his direction. It detonates, but the Carnage symbiote protects him. Deadpool is responsible for it, bullseye style. Enraged, Carnage now faces Deadpool head-on. You'd probably want to censor their speech from here. You know how Deadpool talks and how bad Carnage can get, but the words are not the only destructive weapons used. While Carnage slices Deadpool, he returns the favor with his bullets and katana swords. At some point, he force-feeds Carnage with a grenade, and boom! But Shreik, who is Carnage's girlfriend, decides to crash the party. She saves Carnage in the nick of time and burns off half of Deadpool's face with her scream. By the way, she's dressed in a waiter's uniform. Could you guys stick to the bedroom, please? Deadpool is briefly incapacitated while Carnage asks, "How did you find me?" Deadpool says without thinking that he simply followed a pattern. Wrong answer. Carnage hates rules and patterns. He has sworn to never be under the control of anything and rather prefers chaos. Now we see that both these guys can get stupid. Perhaps Shreik is the only sensible person, or scratch that, she is actively dating Carnage, so she can't be that sensible herself. But Deadpool suddenly shows some initiative. He reveals 2 speakers attached to his belt. A certain frequency of sounds is one of Carnage's weaknesses. So the speakers blare the sounds of dubstep. This move seems to be working until Shreik intervenes yet again to save her man. She shoots a powerful yellow beam and destroys the speakers. Come on, Deadpool almost had him. So it's 2 against 1 now. Case in point, Deadpool has done his homework, and he releases a couple of incendiary bombs, or rather bombs that produce fire. It's another weakness of symbiotes like Carnage. At first, nothing happens. Then Deadpool remembers he is supposed to detonate them with a button. And so they go boom. Did they work? Before Deadpool can figure that out, a red symbiote hand emerges from the fire and impales him. Again, shrieking levitated them both away from the explosion, so Deadpool is gutted and both lovers fly away, leaving him for dead. The fight is already proving too difficult for Deadpool. If only he could increase his chances by becoming a symbiote himself. Just a thought, but they say the universe usually grants people their honest and sincere desires. Will it do the same for Deadpool? We can only wait and see. Deadpool wakes up and his suit is ruined, so he heads for a storage facility to reload. He has a registered unit in every US state in case he might need to refresh wherever he finds himself. The clerk at the desk checks his details and reports that his membership has been revoked because he is behind on his payments. She also graciously tells him that his stuff has been given away to a certain bloke named Doverton. Doverton is an extreme fan of Deadpool who even has an evidence wall in his bedroom. With Doverton's help, Deadpool might be able to trace Carnage's whereabouts. Doverton is actually this fat guy who wears Deadpool's costume all day long. They don't even fit. Plus, Doverton's brain seems to work the same way as Deadpool's. Talk about kindred souls. Deadpool does eventually locate Carnage. He's driving a convertible while Shreik is beside him, shotgun style. Their hair is flying in the wind when suddenly they hear Deadpool's voice coming from the back seat. But it's only a radio that was put there. Deadpool is in fact on a field mower being towed away. It's right in front of the car, and Deadpool releases the mower in an attempt to shred Scream and Carnage to bits. Shreik hits her head on the windscreen and passes out. This enrages Kasady, who immediately turns into Carnage as the battle begins. They attack each other with all they have. While Deadpool has his katana sword to Carnage's neck, he returns the favor by piercing through Deadpool's skin like he was a kebab. The fight is going down on the highway, and a few drivers stop to get some footage on their smartphones. Deadpool is thoroughly impaled, and he tries a new tactic. He proceeds to use a little reverse psychology on Carnage. Both combatants are not known to be smart, but it doesn't hurt to try. He argues against the theory of chaos that Carnage swears by as if he were explaining it to a kindergartner. But Carnage simply tosses him aside and moves on. As Deadpool heals, he resorts to his random clues method, which has helped him locate Carnage so far. He turns to the crowd and picks random words from what they are saying. Somehow he comes up with the Mercury team, and believe it or not, that's a real group of symbiotes created by the government to neutralize Carnage. So where does it lead? While Carnage abducts a family's car, Deadpool rides the sunset following random stupid clues like a cloud that formed an image of Carnage or a dead dog on the road. Soon enough, he gets to another abandoned town and finds the family car painted in blood. He follows that same clue to a poorly guarded top military facility, but Carnage has already been there and has killed everyone. Coincidentally, this is where the Mercury team was based. Carnage ambushes Deadpool and cuts him up into very tiny bits so it would take longer to regenerate. It seems like it's the end for Deadpool when a symbiote dog takes him over. Deadpool is then turned into a hybrid symbiote comprising all 5 members of the Mercury team, potentially stronger than Carnage. We told you the universe was always listening, didn't we? And the universe even includes an extra symbiote dog in the package. Carnage heads for his old psychiatrist ward next. He has begun going insane again as Deadpool's words from earlier start to replay in his head. Carnage starts to ask the patients and doctors if Deadpool was right about the nature of chaos and random events. When they don't give him a satisfactory answer, he starts to paint the place red until a sniper bullet from Deadpool hits him. Remember, Deadpool is now a super symbiote, and surprise, Shreik is still active, but this time she has a nurse's outfit on. Don't those two have any chill? Shreik leaves the scene before it gets too crazy. In the middle of fighting, the mech with a mouth continues to talk sleek until Carnage has had enough. He leaves to find Shreik, but finds Deadpool instead. He attacks, only to find out it's really a Shreik disguised as a symbiote. He feels guilty and conflicted at the same time. Did he just kill his one true love and the only girl who could stand him? Add that to the doubts he has begun to harbor about the nature of chaos thanks to Deadpool's sermon. We're almost at the end, and we're sure you're hoping for the very last epic boss battle between these two. For the record, we gave no such assurances. Deadpool himself is somewhere in the building ready to go, but given Carnage's state of mind, we're not really sure if he's in the mood. Sorry guys, if we led you into expecting a final go at it for these two strange characters, the following morning Kasady, or Carnage if you like, turns himself into the police. While in his cell he talks to himself about how Deadpool opened his eyes to reality, but this is not a compliment. Carnage hopes to finish what they started and punish Deadpool for telling him the bitter truth. Right now he will sit in his cell and gather his thoughts. Then, when the time is right, he'll escape prison yet again. And so this chapter comes to an end with Deadpool asking, who's next? That's it, folks, and as Stan Lee would say, Excelsior! Please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to get up to speed on related Marvel comic book titles. Thank you for watching, and bye!